why it keeps trying to open it in the app.
My motto on stream is treat every day like it's the weekend. And I like to have people come to my stream and forget whatever day it is during the week and any problems that they're having and just have fun and relax.
People come to my channel for skill-based gameplay, but they also come for the community that I've cultivated over the years. It's important to create a comfortable space for your viewers, even if it means losing a couple who might be rotten eggs.
Alright, let's focus on some basics. When you're first starting out, you're going to wonder how you can get people to join your channel. This is a difficult question because it's something that is very unique to each individual person. First, what type of streamer are you? Roleplay, variety, esports? What is it that makes your channel unique in that category? Make sure you spend a fair amount of time and then make sure that that part of you, the part that makes your channel unique, really stands out. And have fun with it. Most importantly, have fun with it.
That's good advice.
All right, what is happening? What is happening?
When I was first starting streaming, I really wish I knew the importance of a consistent stream schedule. Even if that's only 2 times a week, it's very, very important that you let your viewers know you will be on, you're returning, their support is not
I mean, I knew
nothing,
that,
but that you're going to be back, and letting your viewers know and just communicating to them. So, number 1, the importance of a stream schedule, and number 2, communicating that with your viewers who want to come watch you.
Alright, so one of the things I wish I knew when I started streaming was how loud I actually was. And how important it was to take care of that little problem. I streamed for about 2 years before I finally got a compressor, and I am a very loud guy. I don't even want to think about how many people I've warded away because I was screaming because a zombie was chasing me, and I will never see those viewers again. First impressions matter. Focus on your audio first and foremost.
New creators in the beginning can definitely stand out by allowing themselves to be themselves. I think too often people on Twitch are trying to mimic a streamer that they've already seen as successful, but my stream really got the most successful when I embraced myself and stopped trying to do what I saw everybody else doing. So instead of trying to be the best at a video game, I decided to do a cooking stream one night, and instead of being embarrassed to dance around and be goofy and tell jokes that people might not think are funny, I started to do the exact opposite, and that's actually when my stream started to grow.
What is this? See something here. I can't tell. Okay, maybe I can up the quality on this. 160. Put it at 480 at least. What am I fucking looking at right now? Oh, and another ad. He's taking an ad break. Stick around to support the stream. Okay. So my one viewer, I see you. It's now I've never really like done an open data stream where I'm actually looking at the data while I'm doing it. I'm always just like playing a game or doing whatever. But this kind of bears going into. My one viewer is someone who is also streaming right now. But what they're streaming is just PoE statistics, and I don't see anything about me in here. I was just looking to see, like, did someone shadow top 20 of Ranger, all classes? Okay, so this is some Path of Exile statistics. So my guess is that I picked up a bot from the one time that I streamed Path of Exile. Is that what happened? If that's you, let me know in the chat. Or, I mean, I don't know if you have the ability to let me know in the chat. If you... That's really interesting, though. Okay. Anyway, I just felt like that was worth documenting because it's very weird. They're still live 24/7 statistics, Ritual Leagues, Path of Exile. So, Path of Exile, streamers then, I guess? Or Path of Exile bots are chillin'? I'm gonna add this person as a friend just to be like, yo, what up? And we'll leave that there. That's a really interesting thing that I have never seen before. Very interesting. Yes, very interesting indeed. Oh! Okay. Whoa. Okay, so you're a Doom Striker here. But over on my viewer count, it said that you were someone named Commander Root. And when I went to Commander Root's thing, like I clicked to it through another thing. So are you a mod for Twitch? Or are you... I'm just confused as to what's going on with, like... You're like, I just clicked on your stream and I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know. I didn't mean to, like, call you out or anything. It's just weird because I've often streamed from my Xbox and I have one... Okay, cool. I've often streamed from my Xbox and I have one consistent viewer that's just like always there, and I don't think it's you. I think it's just like, right? I don't, unless you're the same person that's been watching my stream for the last like 5-6 years and you're just some guy. But this is just like random gaming Xbox stream, right? So my thought was that I picked up a bot. That's what I thought. I'm like, okay, because every time, like the moment that I click on GTA, I get a viewer and they never go away, and then like I'll kill the stream and it's always the same thing. It's like it was just always tripping me out. So I thought that it maybe was a bot. Maybe I just consistently stay in the one viewer slot and it cycles through. But anyway, sorry to call you out. Today's the first day that I've gone on my laptop and been like, okay, so what is going on? Who is actually watching me? And it wasn't you that was in my viewer my creator dashboard or whatever. As you can see, I haven't really done this much. I'm currently working with my phone, which is this, and my little Chromebook because I'm a broke mofa. So, Twitch 101. If you have any ideas for stuff to stream or whatever, I was just gonna like chill, maybe like meditate. I don't know, that's not really interesting content, but I figure I was going to need it because eventually I was just going to launch into talking about my thoughts, and that always leads to like totally it always just leads to politics or whatever. Like, I don't know, I was saying in one of my other streams, like I don't want to be like a political commentator, but that does tend to just be whatever my discussion leads to.
A lot of streamers set their expectation of themselves in the bar really, really high. There's nothing wrong with having goals and wanting to put on a really good broadcast, but everybody starting out sucks behind the camera, sucks behind the microphone. Of course, there are going to be some people that are naturally more charismatic or have better social skills just because that's kind of how they are.
Let me know if that's too tinny.
I'm an artist. People don't understand me.
The best advice I could give you, be yourself because you want people to like you for you.
I like that.
A lot of people think I need to have this major, massive PC. I need to
That's
have
true.
all of these extra things. Like, you need nothing more than a game console and a microphone. That's it.
You really don't need anything too expensive. Yes, in the long term you want to invest, but just when you get started, you can get anything.
And honestly speaking, I think just having a webcam and good enough audio is enough.
If you have something that makes your stream look and sound nice and you haven't developed the skills needed to become a better broadcaster and entertainer and learned your craft, it's not going to take you that far.
A camera isn't as important as a lot of people think. Personally, I like cameras because I'm very animated.
Oh, I got you.
It's not even that I like to make them.
I don't even know where. I think I'm currently on just chatting or whatever.
For me, it can
I just kind of got into,
You don't necessarily need two monitors
dropped
at
into
the start.
the
You can
old
get a second monitor
phone
upgrade.
stream today for
Break
no
down
reason.
two monitors so you can have your broadcast, software over there and chat and things like that, and multitask a little bit better. But it's not necessary. You can still use your phone or an iPad or things like that, other devices that you might have that you can install. The Twitch app.
The lighting matters. If you have a good webcam but crappy lighting, they're not going to be able to see it.
That's true.
So get that good lighting and
That makes
make
sense.
sure
I
you
hope
got
this
a good
phone works
webcam
pretty
and
well.
good
It's like
audio,
a
you're fine.
relatively new LG, but like LGs are cheap. This is like $100 phone, so who knows?
That's the route you want to go, because I'll tell you right now, having your face on there obviously creates a little bit more, interesting stream. People can see the broadcaster. Obviously, viewers are naturally kind of curious. But if I was able to go back and just stay with no webcam, so that way I
That's
could just stream
cool.
all the time.
I wish I knew enough songs for that. I really don't know that many
I
songs.
might have thought twice about revealing my face, as it were, and having that
Although,
be part and staple of my stream.
I could then,
If we want to look
I could
into
definitely freaking plug in my amp and go with the electric guitar and just like, I could crunch out some shit. That would be kind of sick, actually. Don't know the websites. Yeah, I've seen some interesting stuff too. I'll have to keep looking that up. That's kind of what I'm doing now, because today is basically like I've been quarantining, not like quarantine. Well, yeah, quarantining. I've been quarantining. I've been staying home for like a year now, and lost my mind a couple times, and here we are. We're at this point. Like today, we were gonna go do some stuff, and we realized that we've had a couple exposure events, and we're just not feeling great. So we're also we're quarantining again, which has just put a damper on everything. So I basically decided that I wanted to start doing something different. And instead of streaming from my Xbox and just like hopping on some games, I was like, I don't know, I'll go sit in the other room and watch how to be a streamer and try to learn what I'm doing. That'd be cool. Like, wouldn't it be cool? Is that something that you're trying to do too? Because I feel like that most of the people that are on Twitch, like, we're trying to either become streamers or we just want to be like, we're just like bored. But my whole thing is I've always wanted to like become a streamer or a YouTuber. I've got so much just low effort content that I've made. Yeah. That's sweet. See? And like my big thing is that I can't really watch Twitch that much because I have it on my phone. Hard to get viewers. Yeah, it is. My main thing is that I only watch Twitch like on my phone, and even on my Xbox, it's kind of laggy. I don't know if you experience this or not, but like for me, Twitch is pretty laggy. Partially because I just live in a weird place. I think we have like pretty good high-speed upload speeds, but just really shitty download speeds. So I end up watching most of my stuff on YouTube, but I do watch quite a bit of streamers on YouTube. And so I was like, well, if they're constantly doing this and they're building these communities like on Twitch, then I don't know, I just don't get it. Because like as a YouTube viewer, I just watch it kind of as a buying a cheap PC. That'd be cool. Yeah, feel free to shoot me like if you have Newegg links or anything for sure. Yeah, I definitely need to up that because we have this, which is a nice. It's a Chromebook. It's a nice tablet one that's cool. I can draw on it and stuff. But and then my partner China has a really nice gaming rig, but it also needs some work because it's like quite a few years old. So I don't know. That's a thing. I do enjoy computer stuff.
You definitely want to look into a few things, mainly your computer. One of the biggest parts of computers is you want to have a really good CPU.
And if you're trying to
That makes sense. No wonder I can't stream or watch streams.
If you're worried about, the aesthetically pleasing stuff, like a nice chair to make you look legit and whatnot, just like hold off on that and just wait. Maybe make it a goal
This
for,
was
like,
my
donations
first.
and whatnot, but build up to that. But
It's one of those
you
like
gotta get the stuff that really
HDMI
matters down
in
first
out
and
recording things, and you have to stick a USB stick in here to as the memory device. It has no memory on it at all. It just captures a HDMI thing. First thing I ever made not really the first thing I ever made a YouTube video with. first thing I made a YouTube video with was I pointed my GoPro at my TV and played Limbo. But then I got this thing, which was like, I don't even remember how much. I think it was, I don't know. I want to say like between $20 and $40 when I got it, which it should not be that much now. You could probably find this on Wish or something for like $3. I've always been the person that, like, instead of getting computer parts together, I just like throw together whatever I can to make stuff work for me. I had like a little camcorder that when I was, a kid growing up, but I'm an older person, so Sweet. Hell yeah. Definitely. Thrift stores, Craigslist. I appreciate that. Feel free to drop them in the whispers or whatever. I don't know. I'm Gummy Worm Jim on pretty much everything except for Twitter because reasons.
You'll have supporters who want to help you improve the quality of your stream.
I think the thing I enjoy the most about streaming out of everything is just interacting with my chat and getting to know them.
There's nothing quite like live streaming. There's no form of entertainment or medium that allows you to have that instant interaction between broadcaster and viewer. I can't throw on the TV
Was that trying to be a link and it might have blocked it. I don't know what my mod settings are at. I really don't know much about what I'm doing here yet. Still figuring it out.
Be comfortable with myself and
Stream manager.
animated and as wild and loud as I naturally. And Twitch is the perfect place for that.
Building a community over a longer period of time and having them come back day in and day out, not only to hopefully you have, an impact on their life and cheer them up as an entertainer and a broadcaster, but also the opposite happens too, where people come through and they cheer you up. You get to see all the silly stuff that happens in your chat. And sometimes, honestly, my chat's more entertaining than I am, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
And make sure you always have that drive, because you can't get started on Twitch if you don't have the drive to do it.
You just need to be you.
Oh, that's cool. This this stream manager thing is kind of cool. I've never even messed with this stuff. Yeah, feel free to whisper them to me or whatever it is. I don't even know. Like I said, I'm really still just freaking. I actually just realized like today, because of how much this is like blowing my mind, that I'm a bit of a boomer when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because I've had this laptop. I mean, we've had this laptop for quite a while, and I've just never really thought to like open up Twitch while I was streaming and be like, why don't I look at the... I've always heard people be like, clip that. I didn't realize there's just a button here that I could just clip something. So that's cool. That's fun. Edit stream info. That's cool. What do I do here? If I go... Wait, let's see. Still figuring it out. Thanks for hanging out. This is probably riveting content, I'm sure. Community guidelines. This is the important shit. Let's get through all of this, shall we? Let's just do it all.
Here for that nice introduction. So, hey chat, I'm Angela. Recently joined Twitch as head of trust and safety, and my team includes the policy team, the team that writes the guidelines, and the team that handles the reports and enforcement. So I'm excited to be back here in Creator Camp to answer the questions and discuss because tomorrow the enforcement starts on this new policy.
I'm glad you reinforced that because, Angela, I was muted that entire first section. Welcome, everyone, to Creator Camp. We're doing a lot of things live today. I'll recap what I mentioned because I was muted. Technical difficulties. If anyone has unmuted,
I like that they stuck that in the
Angela.
in the video. Like this is what live shit is like all the time.
My name is Erin. I work on the team here at Twitch. So I'm here to be the advocate for the community and to help go through all of the content here today. I don't write policy. I don't work on them. That's what Angela, the expert, is here to help us cover. We previously did a creator camp back on December 11th. We also hosted a Twitch town hall where we talked about what this policy was like. So today, we're not going to go through the policy itself, but instead, we're going to cover a lot of frequently asked questions that we've seen across Twitter, across the user voice that we saw during the town hall itself. And we wanted to make sure that you had all of those questions and fully understood what the updates to the hateful conduct and harassment policies were. because the policy actually goes live tomorrow, Friday, January 2nd at 10 a.m. Pacific. So we're going to go through all of that today. If you have questions, please make sure that you use !ask in the chat. We have a bunch of wonderful people behind the scenes that are tagging those questions so that Angela and I can go through them at the very end of today's Creator Camp. If you haven't read the policy, I would highly recommend that you do that. In the previous thought that we did, we also did a deep dive. So if this is your first experience, I would recommend pausing here, going back, reading the blog and the information that we put out, watching that video, and then coming back to this one so that you make sure that you have all the information that you need in order to understand kind of the questions that we're going through today. So that said, let's go ahead and focus on those questions that we got through social user voice and the town hall. So I'll pass it over to Angela.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. I always worry when somebody says I'm an expert, but we do have people on our team. So
I'm reading through all the like terms of service and stuff right now.
I'm just going to repeat a little bit what I said. My team does include the team that writes the policies and the guidelines, and also the operations team that focuses on the reports and the enforcement. And again, you've already said that the enforcement launches tomorrow, so I'm really excited here to answer some of the questions we've heard since over the last 6 weeks since we originally talked about this policy on Creator Camp. I'm going to echo once again about, if you do get a chance, please go read the policy. I know it's a bit long, but it really focuses on examples with goals to make the policy easier to understand for not only the community, but anyone that's interested in understanding. I'm really proud of the team with the examples that they're sharing in this write-up, so hopefully we create more clarity on what the policy means.
Yes. And just to echo what I said before,
Gotta keep fluctuating because this one like changes volumes a lot.
We are going to allow people to ask questions live. So there are some of you here that are joining us in the chat. Welcome, everybody. We see you. If you use !ask in your question, the people that are working behind the scenes will tag those questions for us, and then we'll get us all of those questions at the end so that we can answer them in the second half of the stream.
Great. And so I want to set expectations for today, Erin, is that we're not going to be answering, anything about hypothetical situations such if I say or do X, will I get suspended? Because there are a number of factors and contexts that are considered in every enforcement decision. So it's not fair to talk about one-off scenarios, but we're going to talk about the principles and the spirit of this policy and what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Great clarification. Our policies in all of the scenarios that we get are typically people saying, can I do X and can I do Y? And it's hard for us to be able to give a yes or no answer because there are so many factors, like you said, that determine how that policy is interpreted and how that action is interpreted based on what we know around the situation. So a lot of the times we can't give a yes or no answer even if you want to give it because it depends on so many different things that we can't predict without all of the relevant details. So now that we've covered what we're here today to talk about, we've covered the Q&A at the end and how you can get involved in that, let's go ahead and jump into it. So immediately after we made the announcement that the policy was changing, we were launching some updates, we saw concerns from the community raise that the update...
We'll see if I am able to either get a gosh darn vaccine and get to a safe workplace, or if something changes with the financial situation in our politics or whatever. But yeah, hopefully pretty soon I will be able to afford something better than just all this. But thank you so much for all that information. I really appreciate that, and I will check all of that stuff out. I'm honestly at this point just kind of streaming myself watching all the community guidelines so that like Twitch will never be able to say that like I didn't at least understand the rules and try to follow the rules to the best of my ability or whatever. So. Because I fully plan to be talking about some shit. Carefully, obviously, but like,
look at their training programs, and I'm really impressed with what they've implemented, the frequency and the scenarios that they're looking at. For this policy, we try to reduce the gray areas and make the guidelines more clear, so that both the community and the internal teams focus on the helping with consistency of our policy. Our goal is to ensure everyone can more clearly identify content that violates our policy. I was reflecting a lot, and I think there's a lot of confusion around
Angela's like
certain
way quieter than
factors
Aurelian.
that come into play when making an enforcement decision. I know that some people think it may seem inconsistent because the information used to make a decision is not always publicly available because privacy is important to us. So I want to share, enforcement decisions depend on multiple factors: the severity of the violation, the user strike history, and whether the violation.
While she's talking about that, so this jar, oh my god, it broke from the heat. Y'all, that's amazing. So this jar, I put rocks and soil in, just rocks and soil, in April of last year, right before I went into the first quarantine. And then I just put it in the window. And just from the soil, the seeds that are just in regular ass soil, we got all of this clover and stuff. I don't know if you guys can even see, like...
It's fair to say that, on the surface it may seem the same, but context and background is really important, and not everyone's able to.
I'm kind of stoked on it, to be honest. I think it's really cool that, like, there's so much seed in the soil where I live that this just happens from nothing. From a jar with enough water in it to keep it alive for a second. Cheap PC ideas. Tech Yes City. Hey, thanks. It's about buying a cheap motherboards. Nice. Views for cheap. Sweet. Server farms are unloading cheap batches of used Xeons. Interesting. I will have to check that stuff out. My current experience level is just like, okay, I'm gonna have to look at all of those. Like, I'm gonna look into the links that you sent me, and I will make sure to just kind of gauge price options with just what the power is and what I can use them for, because I don't really need much. All I need is to be able to edit videos, like basic. I don't even need to be like, I'm not trying to render crazy corridor digital level effects or anything. It's funny that now Corridor is like one of the like baselines. I don't know if you're a fan of Corridor, but like it's weird that they started as like the underdog indie developer guys, and now it's like, wow, they're one of the top like cool computer developers. Anyway, I'm not trying to make like a Pixar movie or anything, is what I'm saying. All I need to do is edit video. I still am probably going to stay in like 720, 1080 land. I'm not even going to 4K or anything. And then I want to stream me shooting the shit with people if people like yourself show up. So that's kind of what I'm watching the TOS stuff for, is just in case like I get into hot water with who I'm talking to or whatever we're talking about. So
Stuff I think is a really big piece just to reiterate, right?
But yeah.
Building in significant training. This
Way cool.
6-week period between the time that we announce at the time
Just
we
from
launch
soil
is
by
not just
itself.
new. There's a lot of rigorous testing that goes in there. The fact that we are
Dope.
reviewing reports that we quality check so that we can
Hell yes, I will look into it, because that's nice. Like that's right in my price range, obviously.
Before, so I'm really glad that we covered that, and I just want to like reinforce that those are things that we're doing in addition. It doesn't just roll out and then we don't think about it. We're reviewing them to make sure that we're learning and ensuring that they're consistently applied and doing those trainings. So it is super great to hear that we are doing that kind of investment with improving enforcement consistency, both with training, reviewing them after the fact, and doing all of those investments like behind.
It's gnarly to think of.
I know that we have a couple of follow-up.
I often think about what happens to things that go on Twitch that like there were no viewers and there was no moderator, and after 14 days it just disappears. Just the fact that this platform got so big and live streaming became what it did, like can you imagine how much content, like insane, illegal, I don't even know, like I can't even wrap my head around what kind of shit has been live streamed and no one was there to see it, and it just sat on Twitch for like 14 days and then disappeared. Like, it's one of those things that I stay awake at night thinking about.
If you want to call that out. And to they review every report and they determine the appropriate enforcement if we believe that a violation has taken place. So each enforcement does have a predetermined suspension length, meaning that specific behavior should always receive the same suspension. So
Did that do
we
anything?
shouldn't
Let's
do
see.
anything different with that.
Try to.
There are going to be exceptions if you're a repeated offender. So you may be suspended if you're frequently
Oh, sick.
doing
There it is.
infractions.
Okay.
Like, if you're constantly doing it, it may seem a little bit different. But also, if you have a user who submits a valid appeal,
I just figured out how to use chat while
their
doing
suspension
this.
could be reduced.
I'm a
Those are two
boomer,
variations
seriously.
of what I said above.
I'm realizing it now. I'm a
Yeah,
fucking
because
boomer.
again, the context is like
I'm an older millennial, but really I'm a
important.
boomer.
Sometimes that context isn't readily available to the community, but there are things that we look at behind the scenes that may impact
That's
that.
cool. I can even
I think
can
it's also
see it. I
worth
can look at it
calling out
myself
that
if I want to.
we
That's
can
great.
put these policies into place, right? But
Like so.
we understand that that's not going to deter some bad actors, and it doesn't mean that new policies are going to be 100% effective in removing all of those bad experiences. So we also have teams at Twitch that
Oh
are
my gosh.
dedicated to
Oh my gosh, my
proactively
tripod.
reducing harm, right? Our goal
I'm
is
Casey
to
and I
reduce
setting
as
it right
much
now. I'm
as
on the
we
bendy leg
possibly
tripod.
can.
I'm just sitting
But
on the floor.
unfortunately,
Like this
all
is
of those
streamer
things in place, we're not going to be able
beginning
to
stage
prevent
101.
everything.
I've got my
And so
phone
we certainly
on a
don't want that
tripod
behavior
and a
on our
Chromebook.
site, right? We don't want that on Twitch, and we really, really want to encourage users
Hell
to
yeah.
report behavior when they see it, right? Our
Like
safety
a
team
GTX
doesn't know
1650 or
to
a
act if the
GT
behavior isn't
1030 or
reported.
even a
So
GT
if you
730 or
see
G.
it,
Okay.
please report it so that we can
For
take
sure.
action. And
That's.
we
I
can
mean,
use
I've
those
definitely
reports
seen
to
that kind of
either
stuff too, where
figure
people
out
will
how
grab
we
an
can
old,
proactively do it, or we can
like
take
you said,
the
like an old
necessary
office
action to
computer,
remove,
and just
that
overclock the
user
shit out of it.
Twitch.
Yeah, I think it's really important because this is our community, and safety is all of our responsibility. So again, it's really crucial that to your point that we have community members.
If you're wondering what the audio is, I'm
that hurts
listening
others
to the
and
community
violates
guidelines and like
these
watching
guidelines,
the
please report it.
how to be a streamer
We're grateful
videos.
for your help in making sure we can take action and keep the community safe together.
Yeah. I know that we talked about reporter experience, and so there are, I'm sure, folks in the chat who are wondering when they should start expecting to see those reporter feedback emails. So can you give us some insight and more information about that?
Yeah, sure. So just to go back a bit, is that in the mid-2020, we added a confirmation email to the flow. So what that means is that when you file a report, you should receive an immediate confirmation that your report was received, so that yes, we received it. It did not just go out in the ether. And then once it's filed, each report is then sent to a member of our team for review. So it's actually sent to a human being to review each time you file a report. The time to resolution, though, is dependent on a number of factors. One of them is the severity of the incident, the evidence we have available, and just the size of that reporting queue for that day.
Ooh.
We know that getting feedback on the status.
I bet
of the
Twitch is super
report
overwhelmed.
frustrating. So in December, we started our journey of
Second
sending
gen or
you
newer i5s and
notifications,
i7s, they're still
taking
pretty solid.
action on your report.
I believe that actually, especially during the
New notification is part of our ongoing push, so we're on a journey. We're definitely still
like anything that was made in that like time period, I think between like I want to say 2005 machines are probably like way too old at this point, but like anything past like 2010 for sure is gonna be like pretty solid for 1080 shit. Like I think should be. I don't know. I'm not sure what the years were on all of those things, but I do definitely know what you're saying, that like a lot of those older computers, they're still just fine workhorses.
We still have a lot of work to do, and we're going to continue to iterate, on this in 2021. But for now, you're only going to receive a notification if the enforcement action that we take matches the reason you reported it. So if you reported spam and the account you reported was suspended for spam, you'll get an update. I think the challenging part is that
2012,
unfortunately,
yeah.
this means in some cases your report made in good faith is not going to receive feedback. Our product team, I just want to say they're working hard on ways to improve it.
Actually, there's a really interesting story behind why I'm not entirely sure about all of that. It's because I ended up getting my dumb ass locked up for a big section of my life. So like, I was a total computer nerd from the time that I was like a little kid in the early 1990s all the way up to like 2010. And then from 2010 to 2005, I didn't touch a computer. I was not allowed to touch a computer. So it wasn't until 2005 when I got out of prison that I was like, Dude, I went from a flip phone to 2015, and like, whoa, okay, I get what's going on now, and I kind of saw all of it coming. Like, it's not like I missed everything, and I was definitely like, I was in there reading Wired and trying to stay up on everything that was going on, but you know, I have a big gap in my tech savviness, so currently everything that I'm doing is still just this very like budget minded thing. And it was definitely a huge shock. I remember like right before I got locked up, my friend had an iPhone, and it was like the first touchscreen phone that we had ever seen, and I was like, yo, that thing is sick. That thing is so cool. That's the future. Eventually everyone's gonna have phones like that. And then I got locked up, and while I was like locked up, I was reading articles about how like everyone has a smartphone now, and I was like, I knew that was gonna happen. All right, let's see.
Great update where we give more notifications with more details of what that information is. So right now it includes the violation that was incurred. We also give you a link to our community guidelines and the relevant policy, and if we can, we give you a couple examples. And then the creator has a better understanding of how not to avoid violating. So like, how can we ensure that we're providing education back to the creator so that they understand why they were actually suspended. We want to help people understand that so they can avoid it also in the future. So again, it's also about education. I know we're talking about suspension, but it's also like, how can we help you understand so you don't keep
go over there, please.
violating our policy. And we're actually improving this even more this year, Erin. So the good news is we're going to add more about the content title, the creation date, and the type of content that's being actioned on. So creators have a much clearer understanding of why they were
okay.
enforcement. And I think clarity is kindness, and the more information we can share, I think the better we can help with education to avoid any type of reviolation.
Yeah,
The
so
stream
we
belongs
talked,
to Finnegan now, I guess.
earlier in this creator camp about the fact that we don't make
Finnegan's like, I'll
those
stream
decisions
if you
public.
want.
We leave it up to the
Yeah, that's
streamer whether
Finnegan.
they want to
He's
provide
one
that
of our
information to their community or
one of our
not.
babes.
So if Twitch is working on providing more information to the streamers, why would we not just make it public? Which I know Chad is asking, so I figured we should just cover it now and talk about that.
Gosh, Aurelian's so much louder.
And I
Thank
can
you.
understand, but
That's, I mean, I can't thank. It's not even my babe. That's my partner's babe. My partner's got many babes, many cats.
So by keeping it confidential, we keep the whole community safer. I know that's not the ideal scenario, but also we want to take into account how do we ensure that bad actors aren't abusing the system. Yeah.
You can see what she does to the freaking chair.
Massive response from the Twitch town hall after people had a lot of questions about specific words that you are or are not allowed to use under that new policy. So
Just
I know
don't
we've
use
talked at
words that
length
you don't
about
think
this
you're not
behind the
supposed to
scenes and as a
use.
result of that.
It seems pretty
I'd love to give
obvious.
you some time to speak to that now.
Like, I don't know. I guess it's weird because Twitch is very much look at that. You show a cat and immediately more viewers. I think that no, he did it. He went in the goddamn closet. Get out of there. You butthead. Come here. Get in here.
There's not a blanket
This is
ban on
not the place for
enforcement.
you.
In other words, using the term aren't going to lead to enforcement. It's really about impact. So I wanted to take a step back and talk
Look at
about
this
the
boy.
policies that
Look
I
at
think
this
is what's
boy.
really important to
That's a
clarify
thick
what
boy.
our intent is with that. And I'm going
You
to
are such a
read
thick
what our
boy.
policy actually says. Harassment is any content or activity that attempts to intimidate,
Anyway.
degrade,
I hope I didn't just show everybody my butt. I don't know what's going on there. Did I have a Pokemon moment?
A number of factors determine intent, context,
I don't mean to imply that she does that on purpose, by the way. I'm a big fan of Pokemon. I think she's rad.
Our goal here is
I think that the way that her chat behaves is super
clear
cringy. I don't know if you guys have tried to watch, like, oof.
But if you're abusing others and you've been given an indication to stop and you continue to break the rules and continue to harass somebody, that's when you're going to be in trouble and we'll have an enforcement. And I guess it's, on the flip side, we take many signals into account when we think about enforcement and determine when someone is harassing. So again, it goes to context of the conversation and whether or not the behavior was wanted or unwanted. So I want to also say that our policy does allow for, mutually acceptable banter, roasting, trash talk, but we're going to take action when there's an indication that it crosses the line into harassment.
Yeah. Leading after the town hall, I had a lot of creators come to me specifically about, okay, well, if that word is banned, right, and we just talked about that it's not a blanket ban, it's in the way in which you use that, in the context in which you use it, which led to a lot of people wanting yes or no questions about this word or that word or specific ways in which they can talk on Twitch. But as you just described, there are many factors that go into assessing whether the words that you're using or the actions that you're taking would fall under our hateful conduct.
I'm watching the how to stream videos.
As just blanket advice, my advice to anyone that's concerned about whether or not something that you may say would be a violation of the policy is really to take a step back and consider if the things that you're doing or the words that you're saying are going to hurt the other person. And that includes a lot of things, like, do you have
Things that you're doing,
with that
the
person?
words that you're saying would hurt that person right there.
Their trash talk. Is that something that's part of your relationship with that person or that is known publicly? If not, it's probably best to avoid saying things that could cross the line, right? Look at indications. If you say something in chat and somebody types you out, it's probably an indication that they don't want you to repeat that behavior, right? So look at really what's going on. Read the
Why am I having so much trouble finding a key?
The policy really is meant for us to have users respect
something.
provide a space
No,
for
don't
you
say
to
nothing.
express yourself, but not at the expense of the safety or the what else.
Violate
Yeah, exactly.
the
We
TOS
also
of
received
Twitch.com.
several questions about the policy.
I wish there was a
How
straightforward
it
way to run Windows on a Chromebook.
Right? It's really important that the policies are backed up by the product.
Seriously,
Right? So I think it's worth clarifying
before I
that
had
there
this Chromebook, I had a HP Stream that I was able to boot just Linux Mint, and Linux Mint is grand for a lot of things. But then Linux Mint locked me out. It did a thing where it was like, we changed your password and you don't know what it is. Haha. Either that or I just had like a brain fart. I don't know. I don't think so. But Linux is like, I like it. I just wish that it was easier to use. Windows, on the other hand, is one of those things that like it always works like a charm. It's just, I don't know. I think it really was like that was the way to go for, and still is the way to go. It's that middle route. It's the middle road between like open source Linux, like Wild West style shit, and Apple completely 100% everything is integrated only to work with itself and nothing else. Like, yeah, Windows has always been kind of the way to go in between those things, and it's always been that way. Apple's always been like proprietary and whatever.
actions or your words could be a violation of the policy.
Your
On that topic, I think we should talk about those words, right? Like, how
words could be a
as
violation of the
evaluate
policy.
the use of slurs when something is reported.
Don't let your words
Yeah,
be a
I do want
violation
to
of the
call out
policy,
your point. We don't
or you'll
publish.
be banned from
It
Twitch.com.
goes back to like we don't want to be giving
Banned
actors a
from
roadmap to
Twitch.com.
I know this is tricky and it can be frustrating, but it's really because it's a safe space, and the abuse is simply too high. So, unfortunately, I know that the best answer to this, but avoiding bad actors, creating an abusive community, we held at a very high standard.
Don't create an abusive community. Welcome to my grade A top tier streamer content. Can you tell that I'm benefiting from how to be a streamer videos?
I know it's not a perfect solution, but we are trying to make sure that we're creating an inclusive space for everyone.
I wish Angela and Aurelian weren't quite so volume differentiated.
Creator, you don't wish your mods to see which words you've added. Instead, individual words.
Yeah, and essentially what that means if you're not familiar with
That
the
is how a
product
Wallflower
is
song
in your block
starts.
terms list, if there are certain things that are like safety words or certain words that like you just don't want to have to explain why that word bothers you, or there's a certain term, you can set it as private. So that word then is flagged and banned in your chat, but it doesn't tell your mods that so that you can, avoid that conversation. It's a level of safety for you as a creator to be able to take to remove it without having to go into detail with that with your moderators. So if you're looking for moderation tips,
10 key on the website.
How AutoMod and how all of those safety tools work in
Nice.
Creator Camp. If you haven't figured it out by now, Creator Camp is
That's always been like the one thing that's kind of stopped Windows from being like the perfect operating system, is that you always have to figure out a way to get a key for it. But yeah, definitely you can get keys that way. There is key generators actually. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I don't know if it's still the same way that it used to be, but there used to be key generator programs that most people just download them and use them once before you have to like uninstall them, but it would legitimately generate a valid Windows key for you. Like if it wasn't immediate, it was like 2 or 3 clicks in, it would do it, but that was definitely piracy back in the day. I'm not promoting that here on Twitch.com.
It was a very helpful place for you.
Oh, it's not even Twitch.com. What am I doing?
Or if you're using Twitch.tv.
It's Twitch.tv. It always has been.
Setting up your stream, there's specific talks about
I'm all like,
moderation and safety and how to hire moderators. There's one.
Gummy, what I'm Jim is boomer.
So definitely make sure that you check out those resources for you. We've talked about slurs just now. We talked about the tools. But one thing we haven't talked about is hate symbols, right? And there is a specific section under this new policy that does talk about hate symbols. So can you talk about how we manage and think about hate symbols as it relates to this new policy?
Yeah, and I think it's good to address this given what we've seen over the last few weeks. We define hate symbols as emblems, branding, and gestures that are frequently used to convey hateful ideology or disparage others based on our protected characteristics. That includes
Ooh, I
symbols of
like
us,
that. Based on
white
our
supremacy
protected
groups, and other
characteristics.
And
Way to go,
also, we're gonna proactively deny posts that are
Twitch.tv.
hateful. So specifically
Twitch.tv
calling out
has protected characteristics that you
and also
can
become aware of context
disparage.
suggesting that
And I like
users
that.
admitted
That's a
to
good thing. I
is
don't mean to.
being
I'm
used
not trying to make a joke out of that.
we're gonna include that also for our service. And I really want to touch on this is something going back, looking back over the last few weeks. We're also going to assess potentially removing Twitch global emotes from the service when the majority of the usage is hateful or harassing. So with the policy update, we made the decision also to ban the competitive play, and that's specifically given the historic and symbolic association with slavery and white supremacy in groups in the United States. Exceptions will be made if it's shown in educational context or in historical.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that makes sense because at the bottom of a laptop, they're like, hey, you just bought this. You need to have your Windows key. That makes sense. Yeah, so, let's see. I had a computer that was running XP, and that was like my main driver forever. I used XP from the time that it came out until 2010. Even after, because Vista came out, and like nobody wanted to fuck with Vista because it was still pretty shitty, and so. And I can confirm it's still pretty shitty. I had when I first got out, I got a little all-in-one PC on Craigslist, and it had Windows Vista, and it was functional. I could use it, but ugh, who wants to? I don't mind the Chromebook, even though it is a tablet. The main reason that I wanted this one is because I can fold it and draw on it, and art is like one of my favorite things. So. Slightly old parts. Yeah, definitely. I will definitely be doing that. I will be building a desktop from old parts at some point. Actually, like I said, my partner has a really nice rig that they will be probably just fixing up and making it super cool.
Yeah, we also received a lot of questions about how the policy related to usernames. We've talked in the past about what we're doing to proactively remove usernames that could be used for hateful or harassing purposes. So can you talk about what we're doing to help curb those creation of usernames that are made purely for that purpose?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go
and
on
I want to talk about
Twitch.tv
this
to
is where I love
harass
the
people.
intersectionality
You fucking
of
assholes.
text and human moderation.
And
So,
if you don't know what a hate symbol is by now, I don't know how to help you.
machine learning model that runs on all newly proposed usernames and blocks
Some of them
hateful and
have been
harassing
co-opted by
creations.
folks
It also
that
uses
really,
a
really
list of
fucking
slurs
suck.
and offensive phrases
And I
that
agree
block
that it
users.
fucking sucks.
Now, while I'm a big fan of
There ain't
machine
shit I can
learning
do about it.
as a great tool to help us with this, it doesn't understand some of the nuances. So we're also going to continuing to work on the de-biasing the model to make sure
For
that
sure.
we're training it to allow
I will do
more
that. I'm also
positive,
being like super paranoid about the whole quarantine thing. Like I said, I've been basically quarantined for a year now. I have not really left the house, so.
Share with everyone here that our product, takes this seriously and thinks that we're thinking about this with machine learning models going forward. Also, the intersectionality of proactive detection. So basically, it goes with the actions you take on your report. So it gets smarter and uses this largely effective research. So that's where the technology and your reports are actually intersecting. So I think again, what I'm trying to say here is that your reports are essential, helping us eliminate offensive usernames on Twitch.
Yeah.
We also have
Same.
the ability to act on reports from that are found in violation of community guidelines are basically indefinitely suspended because of that. It's note of word, you didn't ask about this, but I wanted to we have a dedicated team that is working on preventing evasion bans on Twitch. So what you don't often hear about this team because it's their job to stay one step ahead of bad actors. So it means we can't speak much about the effort in this space, so we're not creating a new vector of abuse or playbook or of abuse detection. But I do want to say that we're continuing to invest in this area, how to prevent suspended users from returning to our services. Everyone's safe.
Yeah, it's really a multi-pronged approach, right? It's not so simple as just, is the username allowed, yes or no, right? We have the machine learning model that tries to proactively prevent it, but it's also about the maintenance, right? Maintenance happens from that reporting, right? So we need those users to report it so the machine understands, hey, this was offensive, let's start learning about this. We have to then do the manual.
Have a good one. It was great chatting to you too.
Those reports then don't negatively harm, the
Striker.
Black or the LGBTQIA's
Good meeting you.
ability
Thank
to
you very much. Thank you for all the information.
self-identify on Twitch. We want to make sure that they are able to express themselves through their username.
They gotta be able to express themselves through their username.
We're also learning that when somebody is suspended,
Gotta be able to express themselves
how do
through
we
your
make it
username.
impossible for them to make the username, get banned, and then do it again, right? So we are really doing a multi-step approach when it comes to something that seems so simple, like we'll just ban the username, and it's like, yeah, but there's so much that goes into it.
They might have it. They might have it. They might have it written in ashy. Ashy?
To make those hateful usernames.
Yeah, Aaron, just one thing that means a virtuous cycle about proactive, reactive. Your point really called out a really good point, is that that ML feeds into kind of how we think about, and then the reports actually feed back into the ML, so we're thinking learning from it.
Yeah, and it definitely will continue to get better as time goes on and as it starts to learn. So I feel really positive. I feel really good about the future of that specific problem and what we're doing to solve it. So we've talked about the slurs, we've talked about hate symbols, we've talked about usernames, and one of the things that comes up when we're starting to talk about the way that people act and interact with each other on Twitch is that the fear is that the rules are getting too strict, right? That the ability to have friendly banter or trash talk or jokes is being removed, and that people aren't going to be able to do that anymore. We answered it point blank, but I think
It's like you can't call each other hateful slurs anymore.
While we're here and while we're having the
Cancel
discussion,
culture at its
but
worst.
point blank, are we still allowing jokes and friendly banter and trash talk?
Oh my gosh, Aaron, yes. We love it when our creators use comedy in their communities. We all need a little bit of comedy. It's absolutely welcome. But I think you need to really call it, you need to be careful that your jokes are not hateful or harassing. And attempting to promote, hateful viewpoints under the guise of comedy will lead to suspension on your account. So, as noted in the community guidelines, when it comes to trash talk, be cognizant of others. Some people recognize or enjoy banter when they have an established relationship with the other person. So, if someone asks you to stop, or indicates that your conduct is unwanted, such as you talked earlier about a timeout and to stop, continue to target them after that point. Continue to deliberate attempt to harass.
Yeah, and one more point on that before we go to the live Q&A, so we're almost there. As a reminder, if you have a question while we're here and you're watching live on Creator Camp, thank you for joining us. Use exclamation point ask, and then Angela and I will go through those. There's a bunch of people that are going behind
I'm gonna set up some exclamation points myself at some point.
When we're reading these questions and answers. There are people that are helping make sure that we're getting you the best possible answers. So while Angela and I are here delivering the information, there are teams of people behind Twitch who are helping us get that information. So if you see us at an event in many months when the world goes back to that, or you send us a message on Twitter or whatever the case may be, we may not be able to answer your question because we are getting them from the experts that are working behind the scenes. So I just wanted to call that out as well. Before we jump to that Q&A though, one more question that I want to cover is really explaining how Twitch thinks about the behavior of other people in the stream, right? Sometimes I'm a streamer, I may be playing a public game or in a public lobby, and something may happen that is beyond my control. But how do we think about creators, and do we hold creators responsible for the actions of the other people when it happens to occur on their stream?
So, Erin, great question. And you are responsible for ensuring that on your stream abides by our guidelines. You know, if or harassment content does appear on your stream, we expect you're going to take the necessary steps to mitigate the behavior and hope, ensure that doesn't happen again. Mitigate the behavior and ensure it doesn't occur again. Now, I'm going to say we're not going to suspend broadcasters that we find that are acting in good faith to remove them.
Oh, you better not look around, you better not be saying nothing now, you better hope.
Timeouts for skill bans. So, at the end of the day, use good faith, use the tool for giving agency with Automod to help you ensure that.
Where did I find that note?
Great. So before we move to Q&A, I just want to remind everyone that policy enforcement begins at 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, which is January 22nd. The updated
January 22nd, everything just started to change. They put in some rules, and now some folks can't say some stuff. Folks are really fucking mad, and I don't really know quite why. They're pretty pissed that they can't use that stupid fucking... I don't know, I was gonna say Pepe the Frog, but they can still use Pepe the Frog. What the fuck do I know?
So now that we've covered that, we've answered a lot of the questions that we proactively expected to receive during this Creator Camp. And again, we pulled from Twitter and from user voice and from other user forums that we saw in chats, things like that. Let's jump into the Q&A. The first question that we have is, what is the moderation team doing to combat users who work around bans? Very clear. On the product side, and we realize it's a significant vector of harassment for many broadcasters. We are working again behind the scenes, and we have a team that's dedicated to reducing fan evasion, and we expect to have more progress in this follow-up year where we can share more. But I just want to clearly articulate, I can't share with you what we're working on right now, but we are working hard on how we can recognize as an issue for many people. And we'll give more updates in the future on the product side. The product team is invested on this and is working hard. But probably the thing I would add is that if you're witnessing harassing or hateful comments from someone you think you may need to or say like fans, let us know and we'll take action. Yes. If you think that that's the case, right? Ban the user and it comes back, definitely report the comment and then report it as well for ban evasion so that the trust and safety team can look into it. The next question is if an I'm stumbling here, we're like reading it like a teleprompter. If an enforcement is issued, can someone appeal that moderation decision? So context and content matters, what we've said before. But if a decision is made by someone outside of a community, they may not clearly understand the context of the situation that was reported. Yes, and our appeal process is really important. So I really encourage you that if you believe, that you had been enforced upon, use our appeals process. If you feel like it was issued in error. So I think it's really important also to include in your appeals, any information that concerns your case. Each enforcement does include steps on how to file an appeal, and there's information on our portal to help you figure out how to do that.
are crucial as a component part of our process, and we're trying to make sure that we're making high quality decisions, we make enforcements, but we also realize we make mistakes. These are things that we do in the process. We take information into account. The more information you can share with us and give us context, the better that will make us.
We also got this question in multiple variations in the last reader camp, which was like, how do we prevent someone from reporting someone in bad faith? This question specifically from chat says, what if somebody files a report just because you don't like someone else? And that seems like a simple question, but there's a lot to unpack from that. I'd love for you to talk about that.
Yeah, we realize that people do this. Even bad actors kind of spam our user reward system. So, we go through that and we look at consequences. So, we can really prevent that you're not using our reporting system to deliberately, put in false reports or encouraging others to do so. So just so you know, you can have an enforcement against your account if you misuse the system. And we do this in the background, so you know. Again, we already have sufficient processes to work with these. If you're spamming or you're actually submitting a report that doesn't go against the guidelines, you then in turn have an enforcement against your account.
Yeah, so remember when you file a report that it is always better to submit one report that you've really thought about, you've provided all of the content, it has a lot of context information. If you have like supplementary
Make
documents,
those snitch slips real
look at
good
instead
with
of
lots of
just
details so that they
reports that lack
can
critical
decide
context or
if you really
information.
want
It's
someone
hard to
banned.
parse each one of those individual ones together. So one
Agree with that.
really thorough report is better than a dozen that like lack critical context. As we said before, each report is reviewed by a human, and one thoughtful report gives us enough information to take action instead of a bunch that don't. On that point, we've talked about it. It's not a question. People have a general belief that if you report someone X number of times, that you can just automatically get their channel suspended. That does not work on Twitch. It's not how that works. So it is very important that you give us the information we need to be able to take action and not just click the button multiple times and report multiple times thinking that if you mass report, it'll just automatically get a channel ban. That is not how it works. We do have to review them, and I want you to be really thoughtful when you do that so we have the information we need to take the appropriate action.
Aaron, can I add on to that?
Sure. We're off script anyway, Angela.
I know. I would think the more specific you can be
Yeah.
in your report and providing context is really important. But if you're spamming our report system, just think about the impact you're having for real reports that where somebody can, be creating harm.
Seriously.
And if you do spam or fraudulently use that process, I do want to emphasize you could get an enforcement. So be thoughtful in your report. Having your friends do multiple reports against somebody you may or may not like and abusing our system, it hurts our community because then what's happening is that's taking up time and effort for us to go and look at those reports versus getting into something that's really important. Can harm your community.
Is Twitch planning to outline the reason behind bans by outlining the behavior or context of an infraction? I think this probably came about the time that we were talking about adding in that reporter feedback for both the reporters and the channels, of specifically talking about why we banned and not just the fact that you were banned or suspended.
Yeah, so a couple of things here, Aaron. One is, we touched on this earlier in the conversation, is that, we're making improvements on our enforcement notifications. And so if you're banned, we're giving you information on why. Now, whether you want to share that with your community, that's your choice. But we also, again, are trying to improve this area where we're giving you, the person that was banned, more specific information on why you were banned. So the content type, the header, etc. So that you have as much details as possible so that you're not re-violating our community guidelines. So, the examples piece that I talked about also is important. So we're getting, I guess what I'm trying to say is that we give you details on the why, and then we're actually getting further down that path to be even more specific so we can help with corrective action and so you can understand so you don't do it again.
Perfect. This question I'm going to read verbatim because it comes from user experience. So I'm going to say it specifically. It says, quote, I feel feel that I've been intimidated and degraded because I support conservative politicians. How are you protecting people with unpopular opinions? End quote.
That's good. Like, we're inclusive of everyone's political views, regardless of any political affiliation. So harassment applies to everyone, right? So we support users who express the diverse and sometimes unpopular points of view, as long as it's not harassing and hateful. So it's not against the Twitch rules to disagree or debate politics with one another. We do allow users to target others. We do not allow users to target others who repeated and severe personal attacks. So I want to be clear just to say that, you know what, regardless of political affiliation, our policies about harassment are clear. We do not want people harassing each other, and it's equally applicable across the board. For creators, we encourage you to use tools.
As a side note, from my channel, I will say that the reason that conservatives are more often censored is because their political views tend to victimize and oppress other people. They tend to be harassment at some point. Oftentimes it starts as I'm just a conservative, and then it becomes a harassment of I'm a conservative because I don't like this specific type of person, or I don't think that this specific type of person should be able to do this specific type of thing. It's always like some... So that's what I think about that. But I do understand why also a lot of people feel like they're getting hate immediately for affiliating themselves with conservatism, but at the same time, like, you should expect that because conservatism is pretty
This question says, are appeals available to
I think of a good word for conservatism, and then I'll get back to you, because right now it's, I don't want to say just like outright racist, it's just very bigoted. There's a lot of like classism, ableism, transphobia is huge. That's one of the hot button issues for a lot of conservative people is trans rights. They don't believe that trans people should be allowed to be trans, I guess. I don't know what the fuck their fucking problem is.
So, please provide additional context in your appeal, and we're going to review your case.
Also, they often have weird opinions about like immigration and shit, which is
available to
odd for a country like ours.
And if you have any additional context to share, please submit a new report that includes information.
Yeah, if you submitted a report and action was taken and you felt like there was context that wasn't included, submit a new report that includes that information so that it can be appropriately reviewed. Again, that's why it's so important for you, if you're filing a report, really give us as much information and context as you possibly can when you make that first report so that we have all the information that we need to make the appropriate decision. The next question says, how does the policy apply to racial slurs if they are not used in a hateful manner? The example included in this question
I just want to point out
is
that
rap music or in a song.
it seems pretty...
This is a great question.
I mean, and I don't mean to poo-poo on it, but it seems pretty telling that most of the people in the live chat about the community guidelines in January were immediately asking questions about conservative persecution and what slurs are and aren't okay. It says a lot about kind of not Twitch viewership in general, but the average Twitch viewer, and also specifically the ones that are more engaged in the website itself as a platform. I think that for a lot of people that come from marginalized communities, it's hard to engage with platforms like these because we don't have a lot of experience feeling heard anyway, and so when you start getting into this kind of streaming your opinion or streaming anything, it always ends up feeling very, I don't know, contrived and very, like, it feels like it's not for you. It feels like fitting into a square peg or whatever, square peg in a round hole or whatever, like...
We said multiple times during the stream, well, actually somebody asked this question. It's one of those things where sometimes we use internal language that isn't clearly understood outside by the general community. And so the question is, what do you mean when you say bad actors? We've said multiple times we don't want, bad actors are going to take this information, or we don't want
people that are acting bad.
So can you define what we mean by bad actor?
not everyone by guidelines, not everyone by
Just don't be a bad actor. Don't act so hateful and rude. Don't come up in people's chat and cop an attitude. That shit ain't gonna work for you. Twitch is just supposed to be a place. We can stream our games and look at our ugly faces. I don't mean your face, I mean my face. Twitch is just supposed to be a place. I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing at this point.
But how are we viewing the content on Twitch as it relates to some things that might have a mature content filter on it?
Yeah, so this policy change doesn't impact streams that may include content like profanity or violent game content that may not be considered family friendly. Generally, streams that enabled the mature content settings should not have to change their streams as long as they're not violating our community guidelines. However, if any conversation about sex, nudity, and other mature topics that are not, intended to be educational and otherwise comply with our policy, we do ask creators to mark their channels mature and their channel settings.
So my question then
Just
is,
make sure that you understand generally the content that you would be streaming that day, the conversations, things like
my
that.
main question then is like, okay, what about the Cyberpunk 2077 character customizer? Is that TOS friendly? I think everybody's kind of asked that, and I don't remember. I mean, I know that a lot of people have gotten away with it. It's just it's a CG peen, so whatever CG whatever CG genitalia of some kind or another. But a lot of people are thinking like, is that educational? Maybe not for me to say, but I would say that in the case of the way that CD Projekt Red did it, it's like it's not really educational. I guess it's kind of just realism, which is not. I don't know. Does that fall under education?
Yeah, I think, as Twitch as a service, like we have a foundational expectation of what safety should be on our service. And then if we layer on top of that, that's what is space for creators to decide what safety means to them. But as a service, we do have a foundation of what safety should be for everyone that wants to come to Twitch. Because we want to make sure we're creating space for everyone to create, enjoy, and participate that share their interests. So
Yes.
Shout out, Angela. Thank you so much for joining us.
Don't get on the internet and spew hate speech and problems, or you're probably gonna get the X-nay, you know. Don't make a problem for me, dude. And I just don't mean to cop an attitude. I don't really have the time for that. So keep these fucking hateful dudes out of my chat.
We will see you next time. Make sure that you click the follow button if you're interested in education so that you can be notified when we go live. And we will see you all later.
Justine, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Wait, do I have to watch the whole?
Bye.
Go all the way to the end.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Oh, well, still got some time, too. I want to make sure I go to the end. There we go. Look, I watched that shit, y'all. You see that shit? I watched that shit. Emotes, bro. Let's talk emotes. I didn't mean to immediately gender everything dude and bro, but it's my normal
Emotes.
go-to. I don't mean to assume
Just
that
like
you're
my
a dude or
pal-
a bro.
Dragon over here. He's one of the emotes. Emotes are very important on Twitch. You can actually use them by either like type in a certain code in the chat and it'll pop up like as the picture in the chat, or you can click on the smiley face
It's weird to see
in the chat box
emotes not
and you can
working
click on
for
some
people,
emotes
like
there.
seeing when people
And of course,
type
like you can either subscribe to
random
someone,
words
and
and
that
like, what
way
does that
you
mean?
can
And
get
it's
their
just supposed to
subscriber
be an emote.
emotes, or you can use
It
like
didn't work.
Twitch global emotes.
I love emotes. I think they are actually the best way of just not only interacting with your audience, but just being able to express yourself. You know, you don't always have to type. You could just use an emote and it just like speaks to you, you know?
So for me, emotes are a really, really cool thing. And obviously one of the better perks of being a partner on Twitch is the fact that you get, multiple emotes depending on how many subscribers and how your growth on your channel and things like that.
People just use them to have fun. So like, if something like really funny or hype happens in the chat, and you have like a hype emote, then like everybody starts spamming hype, and it just kind of makes you feel like it's
I
like
wish I had a bunch of folks to spam on my chat.
Being able to have some chat engagement
Appreciate
there,
you, though.
even having inside jokes and things that just kind of happen organically in the stream.
Not only are they like the best way ever to express the way that you're feeling to anyone on Twitch, but the fact that your sub emotes you can use in anyone's channel, it really does kind of make a way of connecting each other when you're not streaming.
If you're not like me and you're able to draw and create things digitally with digital art and things like that, that's great. That's awesome. Maybe you'll be able to save some money, and you can also kind of, make them a little bit more personal, because as people ask about these emotes and where did you get them? You'll be like, oh, I made them myself.
Or you can go and you can commission someone to do it. I've seen prices range anywhere from $10 all the way up to $70, depending upon how qualified the artist is. But you do have your options, so you don't always have to pay a crap ton of money if you don't want to.
Most of us are probably going to have to go out and find somebody to make our emotes.
they all deserve to be like, respected, definitely paid for their work, because, all that good stuff doesn't come free. It's work like anything else is, just like streaming.
In terms of what types of emotes to choose, well, that's up to you. You can go any route. You can go the goofy, you can go the serious, you can go sets that are all very similar, you can go all of them being very different, and it's honestly up to you.
You kind of want emotes that are going to be representative of different moods and things that happen in the video game. For instance, it's very popular to have a sort of rip or like dead emote for if you die in a video game.
Someone just roll by on a
The type of
skateboard.
emotes that seem to do well on Twitch
I like rolling by on skateboards.
are like the really, really cute, like, animal emotes. Like, when people have, like, their brands and they have, like one cute animal, but then it has, like, all different emotions. Like a hype emote, love, like, subscriber, like, whatever.
Those are sick.
And I feel like that does really, really well because people just love cute stuff. Every single channel has at least one love emote to just, like, spread the love, show someone that you
I
really
like that, and then like when you get a cool emote set, people recognize it. I like that as well. When you go to use something in chat, and people are like, "Oh, you also watch so and so." Like, yeah, that's cool. That's one of the things I really appreciate about Twitch culture.
Someone new comes in chat, they're like, "Oh, hey chat, I'm new to the stream, nice to meet you," like, and then everyone's like, "Oh, hello so and so," and they'll post like the hello emote just to kind of like show like the friendliness. So I think those are some of the like most important emotes
My
to have
battery
like
down,
on
let's
your
see.
channel.
the key for me, and I think for a lot of
29%.
broadcasters, should be to be making the emotes, even if they are, of similar genre and type that have been used in other broadcasters' channels, and making them your own. Trying to put your own style and flair on it, and working with your artist to try to make that happen.
But yeah, emotes, so great for self-expression, and even better.
Alright, I'm gonna end the stream, finish watching this stuff. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked this, feel free to leave me a follow. I don't know. I'll talk to you soon.